And welcome back as we turn for the second game of two today between the Palm Springs Power and the Inland Valley Buccaneers. The Palm Springs Power winning the first game by a score of 6-2, although it ended up being 6-2, but it was a very competitive, close game for the entire way as the Bucs, entering the fifth inning, had a 2-1 lead. But the Bucs fell behind 3-2 in the top of the fifth. And as you know, we talked about 11 left on base. The Bucs couldn't get the timely hit, and it ended up shooting themselves in the foot as the Palm Springs Power ended up coming through with 3 runs in the final 2 innings, as they got 1 in the 8th and 2 in the 9th, and wound up taking the score by that 6-2 final. And so, like you know, this is the 4th time now this season that these teams will do battle. 4th and final time, final regular season game of the season for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. This is what the starting lineups look like. First with the Palm Springs Power. Leading off in right field is Brock Hill, followed by Colby Schultz, the second baseman, John Malden, the center fielder. The DH, Willie Bourbon, is in the number 4 spot, followed by Taylor Grace, Kobe Fopp, Ryan Mota, Dylan Yankel, and Andrew Brown. That's what the lineup looks like for the visiting Palm Springs Power. Here's how the lineup looks like from the manager, Kevin Bowler, for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. And really, I should say, maybe not necessarily the lineup, but this is what the defense looks like out there for the second game of the doubleheader, as the sun is beginning to set, and you'll see the lights beginning to take effect here at just after 7 o'clock local time in Southern California, sunny Southern California, and warm, I would usually say. In fact, normally I would say pretty hot, but after a couple days in Palm Springs, it's almost cool here in Pomona. First pitch, strike. And we are underway as Vega delivers a strike on the outside corner to Brock Hill. Behind Jarrett Vega, left to right across the outfield, Scott Mora and Juarez. Here's the 0-1. Just misses low for ball 1. 1-1 the count. Left to right across the infield, Jackson, Alvarez, Borson, and Hernandez. The catcher is Gomez. Here's the pitch. 1-1, bounced up the middle to the shortstop, Alvarez, who takes his time and comes up throwing. And the runner, Brock Hill, will beat it out for an infield single. As we mentioned, Alvarez did take his time there. And normally if you take your time, you're going to end up trying to throw an absolute dart to first base. But that wasn't necessarily what that throw was from Alvarez. And so just like that, Power get a leadoff man on base here in the top of the first inning on an infield single. And here's Kobe Schultz. Kobe Schultz, number 2 hitter in this game, just as he was in the previous game. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. 0-1 the count. Schultz with a couple of hits in that first game, as well as a couple of runs scored in that number 2 spot. On the swing and the miss, kind of hearing it from the dugout as he was way out in front. And it turned his head very badly. And obviously, the old adage, you got to watch the ball to hit it. Ground ball to Alvarez again. This time, Alvarez will not be able to handle it again. Wow. What a tough start here in the second game of the doubleheader, as Andrew Alvarez had the opportunity to make up for it with that second play. Obviously, the first one is an infield single, but he had the chance to erase both base runners in one play, make the flip to second, and turn 2. And unfortunately, Buccaneers and Alvarez weren't able to get that done. We actually mentioned that Hernandez was at first. It's actually Maher at first. They actually switched positions, so Maher in at first, and Hernandez is the designated hitter. So just wanted to update you on that, because that was what the initial lineup reflected. And I read that off when I was giving you the defensive arrangement. A tough start here for Jarrett Vega, not really because of his own, fault, as he's had a couple of weak ground balls in the infield, and the Bucs haven't been able to make any outs yet. First pitch misses for ball one, and the count is 1-0 to the number 3 hitter in the lineup, John Malden. John Malden, he's been in that number 3 hole the last 3 days for the Power. Takes a strike on the inside corner, and the count is 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, no outs, top of the first, but kind of an anxious start to this game 2 of the doubleheader, just in the sense that, well, there's 2 runners on with no outs, and the Power are looking to put this one out of reach early. Here's the 1-1. Foul ball lifted behind the plate and out of play into that adjacent parking lot right near Scalino's Field here at Cal Poly Pomona. Once again, park at your own risk here at this baseball field. Vega comes set. The count is 1-2. The runners go, swing and a miss, strike 3. So that'll be the first out. But unfortunately for the Bucs and Vega, the 2 runners advance into scoring position for Willie Bourbon. Willie Bourbon, the designated hitter, doing a lot of damage in the first game of the doubleheader here today. If you recall, Bourbon with a couple RBI base hits, a single and a double, and both of them were big ones. They gave him the initial lead at 1-0, and then they gave him the eventual winning lead at 3-2. First pitch to Bourbon, off the plate, ball 1. 1-0 the count to Willie Bourbon. So 2 runners in scoring position. Hale is at first, and Schultz is at second, as Vega is trying to dance his way out of danger in the very first inning. 1-0, inside ball 2. 2-0 the count, as it'll now be a hitter's pitch to come to Willie Bourbon. Well, even though you're behind the count here, you think to yourself, maybe couldn't be the worst possible thing to lose the hitter and then load the bases, just because then you have a force out anywhere, and also the ability to try to turn 2. Although that hasn't been an easy task so far today in this game, as this one's lined foul and is now 2-1. So Jarrett Vega thinking, not so fast. I'm going to try to retire this guy on my own volition, as he comes with the fastball that's fouled out of play. And the count is 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Top of the first inning, just underway in the second game of the doubleheader. Bucs falling in the first one 6-2. 2-1 in there for strike 2. 2-2 the count. Willie Bourbon taking that one. Did not like the call from the home plate umpire, but obviously he's going to have to live with it, as it was called a strike, and it's now 2-2. Of course, Jarrett Vega is a second-year member of the Inland Valley Baseball Association. 5'10", 190-pound right-handed pitcher. Fly ball deep right center field. Johnny Juarez is not going to be able to make the play. In come 2 runs to score, and the Power have taken a 2-0 lead in the very first inning. Like we said, it's just so tough just because of the fact that at the very least, on the ground ball hit to the shortstop, you should have had 1 out. And really, I mean, it was tailor-made to be, double play. So, off to another bad start in the second game of the doubleheader. As a little bit worse than the first game, because first game was just 1-0, but here in the top of the first of game 2, already 2-0, still just 1 out. And Taylor Grace to the plate, taking strike 1, and the count is 0-1. No balls, 1 strike, 1 out. 2 runs in. 2 runs hit in by Willie Bourbon, who now has 4 RBIs total for the day. 2 in the first game and 2 here in the second game. Here's the 0-1. Grounded up the middle to Alvarez. Alvarez to first. That'll be the second out. Bourbon advances to third base as we get another helicopter flying overhead here at Scalino's Field. Second one today, pretty much circling right over the field of play. Well, we feel like we've been saying this for the last 3 days, but the Bucs will have their work cut out for them if they want to make the playoffs, and really if they want to compete in this game. Trailing 2-0 already in the top of the first inning, as the first pitch is called a strike to Kobe Fopp, the shortstop. Fopp at the plate, followed by Ryan Mota. Here's the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. It's really tough this start just because, like we said, had a couple of ground balls that potentially, plays that should have been made. And it ends up haunting the Bucs. Swing and a miss, strike 3. I mean, talk about Vega's first inning. It wasn't really that bad of a first inning. Now, granted, he did give up a couple of base hits. But one of those base hits was that weak ground ball in the infield that ended up being an infield single. And so Jared Vega kind of shaking his head as the Bucs trail 2-0 at the end of 1/2 inning. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com.
Could you whisper in my ear the things you want to feel? I'll give you anything to feel it coming. Do you wake up on your own? I wonder where you are. Live with all your faults. I wanna wake up where you are. I won't say anything at all. So why don't you slide? Yeah, we're gonna let it slide. Don't you love the life you killed? The priest is on the phone. Your father hit the wall. Your mom disowned you. Don't suppose I'll ever know. So it means to be a man. Something I can just change. I live around here. I wanna wake up where you are. I won't say anything at all. So why don't you slide?
And welcome back as we head to the bottom of the first inning. And, well, there's going to be bad news for the Bucs. They're kind of getting double hit by bad news now, as the team that they needed to lose is winning 6-1 in the 5th inning. So the Bucs are going to have to do it today on the field with a win. Otherwise, they're going to be out of the playoffs. So obviously the Bucs won't know that in the dugout, but the team, as we mentioned, that is behind them in the standings is ahead 6-1 at the moment. So looks like that might be a formality, as the pitch is called a strike, and it's 1-1 to Kyle Jackson. Kyle Jackson, the third baseman leading off for the Bucs, fouls this one down the line, and it's 1-2. Sheldon Borson batting second, followed by Johnny Juarez, the right fielder. He is batting third. Nick Hernandez, the cleanup hitter, will bat fourth, followed by Gomez, Alvarez, Mora, Maher, and Scott. Here's the pitch from Acosta, lined right back at him, a comebacker that he gloves and flips to first base for the first out. Left to right across the outfield, Grace Malden Hale. Left to right across the infield, is Brown, Fopp, Schultz, and Mota. Yankel, the catcher, doing the duties for the starting pitcher, Matt Acosta. So Borson to the plate for the first time here in this game. Of course, played the entire previous game at second base and should do the same here in this one. First pitch, low and in. Ball one. 1-0 the count. In the previous game, Borson reached 3 times, drew a couple walks, singled, and scored a run. Here's the 1-0. Just misses low for ball 2, and the count is 2-0. Sheldon Borson, we talk a lot about the catchers on this team with a good eye at the plate, good plate discipline. Borson, no exception. He's not a catcher, of course, but he does have a good eye at the plate. Meanwhile, this is grounded to his counterpart, the other second baseman, Schultz, and we have 2 ground ball outs in a row to start off the game for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Here comes Johnny Juarez. Juarez, the right fielder. He's headed to San Francisco State for his final 2 years of eligibility after previously attending Mount Sac right down the street from here, about 1.5 miles away. Here's the first pitch to him, and it misses low at the knees for ball 1. 1-0 the count. So Johnny Juarez at the plate, followed by Nick Hernandez on deck. Here's the pitch. Fly ball foul over the first base dugout, and the count is 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, bottom of 1, Power on top by a score of 2-0 in a familiar place that they've been in for most of the series, out in front of the Bucs. Here's the 1-1. Strike 2, 1-2 the count. The Bucs, of course, did have the lead in the first game of the doubleheader and actually in the first game of the series as well, but ended up, of course, losing it in the bullpen, as the bullpen gave up a lot of runs in definitely the first game. Maybe not a ton of runs here in this previous game, but when Landon came out, it was 3-2, and it ended up being a 1-run game went from a 1-run game to obviously a 4-run game. Obviously not easy to come back from that heading into the bottom of the 9th inning. Of course, 3 of the runs scored in the 8th and 9th, lined right at the shortstop. And so Johnny Juarez rounding first, but he'll put on the brakes there, as that one was absolutely ripped right at the shortstop. See what the call is. It was hit really hard, and so don't know what we'll get here, but definitely sort of hit hard at the shortstop, kind of in a lay by that shortstop as Nick Hernandez steps to the plate. And Johnny Juarez continues to swing a hot bat now with 3 consecutive hits, a couple doubles in the previous game, and a single here in the bottom of the first inning as Nick Hernandez steps up to the plate. Here's the pitch. Grounded foul down the first base line. Had the chance to talk over things with Nick just really quickly in passing before this game, and he said what I'm sure most of the people watching at home already know. Just the fact that, well, we've gotten a lot of hits. We just can't seem to find that timely hit. And that's kind of been what's gone on this last 3 days for the Buccaneers. Like we said in that previous game, leaving 11 on base and 8 of them in scoring position. So like we said, it's not like he didn't have the opportunities. He just couldn't get that big hit. And so Hernandez looking to potentially do that here today. We've seen him make 1 big hit, 1 big fly, we should say, in his first at-bat of the season. Could he potentially do it here and tie the game? That would be obviously huge for the Bucs, but now he's going to have to protect the plate, down 0-2 to the starting pitcher, Matt Acosta. Justin Gomez on deck, retrieves that foul baseball and hands it back into his dugout. Acosta comes set, working out of the stretch, and here's the pitch. Outside ball 1. 1-2 the count. Good location there as a pitcher, though, just because your catcher is setting up on the outside, and like we said, just kind of a purpose pitch, just trying to get Hernandez to go after something that's not in the zone. Nick Hernandez, of course, knew better. Here's the 1-2. Fly ball, shallow left center field. Will it drop? Diving catch made in center field, robbing Nick Hernandez of a base hit. And so the inning has come to an end after a great play made by Malden. And that'll do it for the first inning. Score remains 2-0.
smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting, walking down the boulevard. Their shadows searching in the night. Street lights, people, living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night.
Head to the top of the second inning in a 2-0 game. 7, 8, and 9 due up. Ryan Mota, Dylan Yankel, and Andrew Brown due up for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. For the Palm Springs Power against the Inland Valley Buccaneers in the top of the second inning. First pitch strike from Jarrett Vega. Vega playing for Cal State Bakersfield the past season. Hometown of Hemet. Went to Tockwitz High School. Here's the 0-1. Grounded to the left side through the 5-6 hole for a base hit. So it's a leadoff single for Palm Springs here in the top of the second inning. Vega, as we mentioned in the first inning, a second-year player with Inland Valley last season, throwing 17 1/3 innings for the Pirates this season, obviously. Pitching here today with the Bucs. Saw a lot of guys shifting from the Pirates to the Bucs this season, as this one's bunted foul. 0-1 the count. Dylan Yankel, the catcher, at the plate, and then you have Andrew Brown, the number 9 hitter, on deck. Dylan Yankel, really the first new face we've seen after the first 3 games in this power lineup. The 0-1, swing and a miss, strike 2. Gomez can't find it. Mota to second. Another tough start to an inning, as the count is 0-2 here to Dylan Yankel. Vega on the mound. The runner at second is Mota, who singled and then advanced to second on the wild pitch. Vega comes set, checks the runner. Here's the pitch, the 0-2. Misses low for ball 1. And the count is 1-2 to the hitter at the plate, Dylan Yankel. So Yankel at the dish. On the mound is Vega. At second base, as we mentioned, is Ryan Mota. As we get yet another helicopter flying overhead, the 3rd time today. This one's grounded off the ankle. And Yankel took a spill and a fall there as it clipped off that front left ankle. You've seen a lot of guys nowadays wearing the protective braces on their front ankles, but it doesn't appear like Yankel has one. He does have the long, kind of rolled down pants, but a lot of times when you see the guy with the ankle brace, you'll see a guy like the guy on deck kind of rocking it over the baseball pants. That's Brown, as this one's fouled back over towards Brown in the on-deck circle, and the count remains 1-2. Obviously, it was Logan Lannon in that first game who was really the first pitcher in this entire series who had any sort of success against the Power. Here's the 1-2. Misses low, ball 2-2 the count. But Palm Springs was still able to score 3 runs off him in 6 2/3 innings of work. And that was all they needed, as the Bucs wouldn't be able to score again. And the Power would get to the bullpen by the tune of 3 runs in the 8th and 9th inning to go on to win that game by a score of 6-2. Here's the 2-2 from Vega. Called strike 3. And down he goes for the first out here in the top of the second inning. So Vega, his third strikeout victim now after he had 2 strikeouts in the first inning. And up comes Andrew Brown, the third baseman. Brown, as we mentioned, hitting in that number 9 spot, but entering the day with over a 300 batting average. Had an RBI single in his last plate appearance in the 8th inning in Game 1 of the doubleheader. Good block there by Gomez to make sure that Moto wasn't heading down to third. But certainly, as we mentioned earlier in the game, or maybe not earlier in the game, but earlier in the day, in the first game of the doubleheader, it's a guy that's not maybe the most, fleet of foot. So as long as you keep it in front of him, he's not going anywhere. But unfortunately, the Bucs couldn't do that earlier in this inning. That's what allowed him to get to second on a wild pitch, as this pitch misses low for ball 2. The count is 2-0. So the Inland Valley Buccaneers, like we said, this is the last day of the regular season. And unfortunately for the Bucs, at the moment, they're really going to have to do it themselves, as this is lined up the middle for a base hit. Rounding third and being sent was Mora, and unfortunately, actually it was Mota being sent, and unfortunately Mora bobbling it in center field. We had just mentioned not the speediest of runners, so it would have been nice to see with a play at the plate if the Bucs could have gotten him, but obviously to be able to throw it to the plate, you got to be able to catch it cleanly first, and so Inland Valley couldn't do that, and it's now 3-0. As Brock Hale comes to the plate, the leadoff hitter for the Palm Springs Power, Sheldon Borson, actually talking things over with Jarrett Vega for a long time there. The second baseman, of course, for the Buccaneers, who heads back to his spot. Vega comes set. Here's the pitch. Misses low for ball 1. 1-0 the count. So the Power, with 3 runs in already, looking for more in the second inning. Strike called at the plate, 1-1 the count. Like we said, the previous 2 games before today ended up kind of being blowouts, to say the least. And then the first game of the doubleheader was competitive, but unfortunately for the Buccaneers, this one is on its way to potentially getting out of hand early. Just because, like we said, the score 3-0, but still just 1 out in the second inning. Here's the pitch. It's bounced foul, and the count is 2-2. Jarrett Vega on the mound for his second inning of work, going against Brock Hale, the leadoff hitter, who's 1 for 1 with a single, an infield single at that, and a run scored in the first inning. Here's the pitch. The runner goes, grounded through the left side of the infield for another base hit. Kevin Bowler calling for time. Of course, the manager for the Buccaneers headed out to the mound here. Already 3-0. And so certainly you don't want to see it get more out of hand. Let's see if, I was wondering if that was going to be a super quick hook for Jarrett Vega. But doesn't appear to be that case, as it looks like Jarrett will stay on the mound here. Jarrett was actually facing away from the plate, kind of facing towards the outfield. You don't typically see that too often from a pitcher. Usually they're facing towards the plate, but regardless of that fact, up comes the number 2 hitter in the lineup, Colby Schultz. Schultz reached on an error in the first inning and scored the second run of the game for the Power on the 2 RBI double by Willie Bourbon. Vega comes set, checks the runner at second, and here's the pitch. Called the strike in the outside corner, and the count is 0-1. So no balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Top of the second inning. Buccaneers doing all they can to try to win one game. But obviously, like we said, it's going to be pretty hard because they've already fallen 3 times, and now here they are behind by a score of 3-0 in just the top of the second inning. As a breaking pitch misses in the dirt for a ball from Jarrett Vega. Daylight, as we mentioned, starting to fade here at 7:30, although it's still pretty warm in Pomona. Fastball up and away, ball 2. 2-1 the count to Kobe Schultz. So Schultz at the plate, followed by John Malden. And Willie Bourbon due up for the Palm Springs Power, who are looking for the 4-game sweep of the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. And the count is 2-2. A lot of words of encouragement offered by Kevin Bowler in the dugout towards Jarrett Vega, the starting pitcher. Runners go, swing and a miss. Gomez down to third, and they're going to strike him out and throw him out, so the inning has ended. But damage was done. Another run comes home to score, and it's 3-0 at the end of 1.5. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com. And welcome back as we head to the bottom of the second inning. The Inland Valley Buccaneers trailing by a score of 3-0 here against the Palm Springs Power. First pitch swing by Justin Gomez. And the count is 0-1. So no balls and 1 strike to Gomez. The catcher for the Inland Valley Bucks, the 0-1, grounded up the middle. Slow roller to the shortstop, do-or-die type of play, and he makes it as he actually bobbled it in the hand, but still was able to throw out Justin Gomez at first base for the first out here. Up comes Andrew Alvarez. Alvarez, the shortstop in this game. Alvarez batting in the number 6 spot in the lineup, and then you'll have Michael Mora due up after that. First pitch, strike 1, 0-1 the count. Late kicking the pitch, breaking pitch misses for ball 1, and the count is 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Bottom of the second inning. The Bucs trailing by a score of 3-0. Here's the 1-1. Upstairs, ball 2. 2-1 the count to the Houston Baptist senior, Andrew Alvarez. Alvarez graduating, and will head back to Houston Baptist to walk very soon. Meanwhile, strike called at the plate, and it's 2-2 to Andrew Alvarez. Two-two pitch. bounce to the left side, right at the third baseman, Brown, who has it and makes the play for the second out. Couple ground ball outs to the left side of the infield, one to the shortstop and one to the third baseman, and that'll bring up Michael Mora. Michael Mora, like we said, in Palm Springs, that second game, had a very, very good day. 3 base hits, and he continued his hot play here today with 2 base hits in the first game, but he takes strike 1 here, and the count is 0-1 to the 6'1", 180-pound right-handed hitter out of Cal Baptist. Late kick in the pitch. The 0-1, ground to the left side, another slow roller. What a play there by the third baseman, Brown. And that'll do it. The side retired in the second inning, and it remains 3-0. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com. Heart of the order due up for the Power in the top of the third inning. 3-0 the score. And there's a new pitcher on the mound. That's Cody Maples. So Cody Maples in relief, and the first pitch off him is cranked down the third base line in fair territory for a stand-up double. So certainly, I guess John Malden liked that first pitch from Maples, as just like that, Power get another runner in scoring position here. This obviously being the first against Cody. Cody 6'1", 190, right-handed pitcher out of Georgetown College, where he'll be a senior next season. For that, attended Orange Coast College, where he happened to be a member of 2 state championship teams. Hometown of San Clemente. For the right-handed pitcher, Cody Maples. Maples on the mound here, working against Willie Bourbon. Bourbon on the day, 1 for 1. Well, I guess I shouldn't say on the day. In the game, I guess I should say. 1 for 1 with a double and an RBI. Actually has a couple more RBIs on this day, does Bourbon. In fact, had 2 in that first game of the doubleheader. Fly ball in the infield, called for by the catcher, Justin Gomez, and Gomez bobbles it for a second, but just ends up making the play for the first out here in the top of the third inning. Here's Taylor Grace. Grace is 0 for 1. Grounded out to the shortstop. So Grace to the plate and Fop on deck. At second base is John Malden. Here's the pitch from Maples. Strike 1. 0-1 the count, as it was a nice off-speed pitch. A lot of the time you see Cody Maples rocking the sunglasses, but obviously at 7:40 at night, no reason to do that here today in a night game. Here's the 0-1 actually. Maples off the mound, checking back over at second. Figured that we were going to see Cody Maples actually start this game, but Kevin Buller deciding to go with Jarrett Vega for a couple of innings. Fly ball, deep left center field. Michael Mora makes the grab. The runner tagging up to third, and so that'll be the second out here as Malden advances 90 feet. And up comes Kobe Fopp. Kobe Fopp is 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Obviously, that was against Jarrett Vega. Is that... Wow. 4-0. Cody Maples appealing to second that he left early. And the runner, John Malden, comes home to score. I mean, that's got to be one of the more brutal ways to give up a run there. And so the Power get their fourth run here in the top of the third inning, just like that. Swing and a miss, strike one. 0-1 the count to Kobe Fopp. Well, I was just about to say that. It wasn't a bad idea to try to see if almost kind of a peel over there at second base. Good play made by Borson. As the Palm Springs Power definitely chirping now as they smell blood here, as they've already won the first three and now lead by a score of 4-0 at the end of 2.5. And we will head to the bottom of the third. Welcome back as we head to the bottom of the third inning. Palm Springs Power with a 4-0 lead, as they've gotten one in each inning and got two in the very first. First pitch, breaking pitch, strike one to Matt Maher. Maher, the designated hitter, actually, is the first baseman. We mentioned that when he was in the field. They kind of changed that up at the last second. Line drive, center field, but right at the center fielder for the first out here in the bottom of the third inning. One up and one down as Jake Scott steps up to the plate, the left fielder, for the second time in this game. Of course, in the previous game, Scott led off, but here he is in the number 9 spot in Game 2 of the doubleheader. So Jake Scott from Orange Coast College up for his first time, and then we go back to the top of the lineup, and Kyle Jackson. First pitch low, ball one, 1-0 the count. Jake Scott, 5'10", 185, the right-handed hitter. Here's the 1-0. Checks his swing but holds up, and that'll be ball two, and the count is 2-0. So hitter's pitch to come here to Jake Scott with one out in the bottom of the third inning, as the Power are leading by a score of 4-0. Late kick in the pitch, 2-0 lifted in the infield. Called for by the first baseman as Jake Scott slams his bat in disgust. And that'll be the second out here in the bottom of the third inning.
Third baseman, number 8, Kyle Jackson.
Meanwhile, that I think got removed Jake Scott from the game because Kevin Bowler calling for Alex Gaskin to come into the game, I believe. First pitch to Jackson, in at the knees, strike one. 0-1 the count. Kyle Jackson 0 for 1. Hit the little comebacker to the pitcher, Matt Acosta, in his first plate appearance. Time called for by the catcher Yankel. We'll head out to the mound to talk things over here with what exactly he wants to do against the leadoff hitter for the Bucs, Kyle Jackson. So Jackson at the plate. Borson on deck for Inland Valley, who trails by a score of 4-0 in the second game of the doubleheader against the Palm Springs Power. Late kick in the pitch. Line to the right field, shallow right field at bat. And the catch will be made, the catch is not made. It drops for a base hit, as it's going to be a single by Kyle Jackson. The right fielder kind of showing it like he was going to make the catch, and a lot of times you do that with a guy on base to kind of fool the runner. But there was no play there, as it ended up being more or less a bloop single for Kyle Jackson, and a 2-out base hit at that. As Sheldon Borson steps up to the plate. Sheldon Borson's 0 for 1, grounded out to the second baseman in his previous plate appearance. Costa comes set. Here's the pitch. Strike one, 0-1 the count. Still really a nice setting for baseball here at Scalinos Field. Of course, with the lights this year, the new wrinkle for this season. Of course, previous years didn't have them. Otherwise, this would have had to have been, 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock type of game. Line drive, deep right field. Chasing after it is Hale towards the track in the wall, and he's not going to get there in time. Rounding third and coming home with the score is Kyle Jackson. Sheldon Borson digging in for a triple, and an RBI triple at that. And it's 4-1 as the dugout starting to get a little bit excited here. As we mentioned, Palm Springs Power were kind of really being vocal in their dugout and talking down kind of almost to the Bucs. And so Inland Valley now says, not so fast. That 4-0 score is now 4-1. And Borson at third with Johnny Juarez to the plate. So for what it's worth, Bucs looking for a 2-out rally, already one in, a couple of consecutive hits, and now the heart of the lineup due up. And Johnny Juarez, who takes strike one, an off-speed pitch on the inside. And it's now 0-1. Juarez in this game 1 for 1. Single to the left side, if you remember. Hit it really hard right at the shortstop, and the shortstop had no play at it. Swing and a miss. Strike two. 0-2 the count. Juarez way out in front of the breaking pitch. And so now obviously he'll have to protect the plate behind 0-2 with a runner at third base in the form of Sheldon Borson. Borson with the RBI triple to right center field. Here's the 0-2. Misses low, ball one. 1-2 the count to Johnny Juarez. Well, Johnny Juarez, as you know, similar to the man on deck, Nick Hernandez, both of them in their first games with the Bucs this season hit 3-run home runs. Here's the 1-2. Grounded to the left side, slow roller, easy play for Fopp. And Fopp actually bounces it, but the first baseman will dig it, and the play will be made. So the side is retired. The Bucs do get one run back at the end of the third inning, and it's now 4-1. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com.
Prison gates won't open up for me. These
welcome back Brandon Benson now in the game to replace Jake Scott here in left field as Ryan Mota steps up to the plate. Ryan Mota 1 for 1 with a single and a run scored in the second inning. Maples delivers on the outside corner for strike one. 0-1 the count for Cody. Cody entered in the third inning. And a little bit of a bizarre way for a run to be scored in the third off him. It's now 0-2. John Malden led off the inning with a double and score. But what was odd about it was the way the run came in. Here's the pitch from Maples, the 0-2. Bounce to the left side at Alvarez. Alvarez has it and makes the throw. And that'll be the first out here. The umpire looking at a long time over at first base to see if Matt Maher made the glove play. And yes, he did for the first out. So there's one away here in the top of the fourth inning. But really the weird play that we were talking about that happened was Cody Maples was trying to appeal over to second base, but had forgotten the call for time. And so the runner for the Power ended up running home and scoring. And the Bucs end up losing a run that way as the pitch is called a strike, and it's now 0-1 to Dylan Yankel. The 0-1 grounded once again to Alvarez. Alvarez has been really busy at short today, and that'll be the second out. 2 up and 2 down, both hit towards the shortstop. In the top of the fourth inning, up comes Andrew Brown. Brown, 1 for 1 with an RBI single in the second inning. Brown getting a lot of production out of that number 9 spot. First pitch, misses low for ball 1, and the count is 1-0 to Andrew Brown. Andrew Brown actually in his second past plate appearances, one dating back to obviously the first plate appearance in this game, the other dating back to his last plate appearance in the previous game. He has 2 consecutive RBI base hits, obviously this time. Nobody on base to take advantage of. Here's the 2-0. Fly ball, shallow right field, coming in and making the grab. No, Borson will not be able to handle it. Borson tried to make a sliding play, but it's going to go down as a double for Andrew Brown. It was hitting that sort of Bermuda Triangle zone in between the first baseman, second baseman, and right fielder. And Sheldon Borson running a long way after it and tried to make the sliding play. He's talking things over with Johnny Juarez here. And as you know, well, Johnny Juarez typically a catcher, so maybe part of it was just about Sheldon yelling back at him, you have to tell me where you are, because not sure if that's maybe what it could have been about. Strike called at the plate, and the count is 0-1 to Brock Hale, who's 2 for 2 in this game with a run scored for the Power. Maples comes set. Here's the 0-1. Strike 2, and the count is now 0-2. Cody Maples, like we said, I mean, he entered in the third, and really that run shouldn't have been scored off him. And this was another kind of bloop single. Throw down to third. Airmails the head of Kyle Jackson and shoots in the left field. It's a throwing error on Gomez. And the 5th run scored of the day. It's tough. Something that's happened a few times, as this one now is lined to right field for base hit, so I guess the run would have scored anyways, but it's just tough because, like we said, it's something that the Inland Valley Buccaneers a number of times have seen that ball kind of where they're trying to steal third, you throw it over the head of the third baseman, and then it gets in the left field, and the other team ends up scoring a run. Meanwhile, of course, you had Brock Hale with a triple. He's now 3 for 3 on the day, or 3 for 3 just in this game, we should say. And up comes Colby Schultz. First pitch, swinging, line drive, base hit, right field. It's 6-1. Now, this is certainly not beginning to look good for the Buccaneers. As, well, for what it's worth, Cody Maples was so close to getting out of the inning. I mean, he got a couple of easy ground ball outs and then the fly ball to shallow right field. But we said it was in that Bermuda Triangle zone. Nobody could make the play. And that has opened up the floodgates for a big inning, as this one's fouled off by John Malden. And it's 0-1 to Malden. Malden's 1 for 2, doubled and scored in the third inning. Here's the 0-1. Fly ball, skyscraping fly ball at that, hit towards the second baseman Borson. Catch is made. The inning is ended, but more damage done, as it's now 6-1, Power on top. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com. And welcome back as we head to the bottom of the fourth inning. Dave Soberai on the play-by-play. So glad you've joined us for all the action on InlandValleyBaseball.com. But like we said, unless a lot of stuff happens, this one's grounded towards the second baseman by Hernandez, and Hernandez is thrown out at the bag for the first out here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Well, unless a lot of things happen, it's going to be pretty hard for the Bucs to find themselves in the playoffs in the SCCBL, because the Bucs, at the moment, they're going to need to win. And like we said, trailing 6-1, certainly that will not be an easy task. The count is now 1-0 here to Justin Gomez, who's 0 for 1 with the ground out to the shortstop. Ground ball right side, another ground ball out here for the Buccaneers, 2 in a row. And so this is now 2 away here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Alvarez to the plate. Alvarez 0 for 1. Grounded out to the third baseman in his previous at-bat here in Game 2 of the doubleheader. Here's the pitch. Strike one, breaking pitch at the plate, and the count is 0-1. Well, it's kind of just tough just where you saw how it all positioned up. And you look at these games against the Power, line drive to center field. That'll get down for a base hit. It actually gets past the outfielder. Alvarez digging in towards third with a stand-up triple. So Andrew Alvarez with the base hit there. And advancing after the center fielder misplayed it a little bit. And up comes Mora for an RBI opportunity. This is maybe a little bit similar to the previous inning, just in the sense that with 2 outs, a couple of base hits in a row came through. One was a single for Jackson, and the other one, the RBI triple by Sheldon Borson. So the Bucs are going to have to try to kind of do the reverse here and get an RBI base hit maybe from Michael Mora. Bucs, like we said, they got a long way to go, though, trailing by the score of 6-1 here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Although, luckily for the Bucs, there are 5 more at-bats after this one to work with. So, still a lot of time here. But as we also mentioned, the hard thing, maybe harder than scoring the runs, might be keeping the power off the board, as they've scored in every single frame so far in this game. Here's the pitch. Blown away. Ball 1. Count is 1-0 to Michael Mora. So Michael Mora at the plate. He's 0 for 1 in this game. Grounded out to the third baseman. It was a nice play, if you remember, made by Brown. The 1-0. Bounced the left side again towards Brown, and that was pretty much the same thing that happened the first time. Maybe just a little bit easier, though, that time for Brown. And the side is retired. The first time Brown making it with the bare hand, but not that time. And that'll be the end of the fourth inning. Score remains 6-1. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com.
And all I need is you. Come, please, I'm calling. And all I scream for you. Hurry, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling. Show me what it's like to be the last one standing. Teach me wrong from right, and I'll show you what I can be. Sing for me, sing to me, and I'll leave this life behind me. Sing if it's worth saving me. Hurry, I'm falling. Sing for me, sing to me, and I'll leave this life behind me. Sing if it's worth saving me.
And welcome back as we head to the top of the fifth inning. First pitch in there for strike 1 from Cody Maples. The score is 6-1. The Inland Valley Buccaneers trailing the Palm Springs Power. Pitches off the plate for a ball and is 1-1. Fly ball deep right center field. Got way under it. And the catch is made by Johnny Juarez for the first out here in the top of the fifth inning. Once again, thank you, everybody, for watching in wherever you may be. Of course, we like to update you on that in the fifth inning. And so once again, we do enjoy everybody who has stopped in for this game as the pitch misses for a ball. Ground ball left side through the 5-6 hole for a base hit. We'd like to welcome in everybody in California as well as Texas, Arizona, Illinois, Louisiana, and Nevada. Thank you for joining us here on what appears to be the last game of the season for the Buccaneers. That's, I guess, the harsh reality to it. After a season that was really fun and really good for most of the way, and the final 4 games of the season, you're asked to win 1 against the Palm Springs Power. And yes, they are the best team, really the team in the SCCBL that's won 5 in a row SCCBL championships. But you have to be able to find a way to win 1. And at the moment, that is looking like it could be a very, very hard thing to do, because the Buccaneers have already lost 3 of them and now trailing by 5 runs in the top of the 5th inning. Cody Maples on the mound. As you know, entered in relief in the 3rd inning for Jared Vega. The 0-1 over the head of the hitter, Kobe Fopp. Kobe Fopp's 0 for 2, struck out in the first, grounded out in the third. Pickoff throw over to Maher. Like we said, it was like the Sharks smelling blood in the water for the Power. As now Maples one over the head of the hitter, now one behind the back of the hitter. So when we talk about outside, those ones were way outside. The last 2 balls from Cody Maples. And the count now 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Top of the 5th inning. Jammed him. Jackson charging in and makes the play for the second out. Grace over to second.
First baseman, number 37, Ryan Moda.
Well, even though this could be the end of the Bucs season today, the Pirates will still have a lot of games left, believe it or not. The Sunset Baseball League is actually kind of a week behind in the schedule for the SCCBL. So next Sunday is when the games end for the Sunset Baseball League. So you'll definitely be getting very familiar and very comfortable with the Pirates on inlandvalleybaseball.com. Of course, you've done it all season long, but even maybe more so over the next week and a half, unless the Bucs, like we said, come through with some kind of crazy win here. Kyle Jackson struggling with it for a second and then makes the play. The side is retired. We will head to the bottom of the 5th inning in a 6-1 game. You're watching on inlandvalleybaseball.com.
How the hell do we wind up like this? Why weren't we able to see the signs that we missed? Try to turn the tables. I wish you'd unclench your fists and unpack your suitcase. Lately there's been too much of this, but don't think it's too late. Nothing's wrong, just as long as you know that someday I will.
And welcome back as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Matt Maher to the plate, followed by Jake Scott and Kyle Jackson due up here for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Bucs trailing by a score of 6-1. First pitch swinging is Maher, who fouls it down the first base line. First baseman Mota makes the grab, and Maher is retired. Up comes Brandon Benson. Brandon Benson came in
Left fielder, number 13, Brandon Benson.
to replace Jake Scott previously. Benson, 6'0", 205-pound right-handed hitter. Fouls this one out of play down the first base line, and the count is 0-1. Benson looking for a home for his final 2 seasons of eligibility. Played at Pasadena City College the past 2, hometown of Arcadia. Here's the pitch from Acosta. Grounded to the right side over towards the second baseman. And that'll be the second out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2 up and 2 down for Acosta. As the leadoff hitter, Kyle Jackson, steps up to the plate for the 3rd time in this game. He's 1 for 2, singled and scored the only run of the game for the Buccaneers up until this point. Costa, here's the pitch. Breaking the pitch, misses for a ball, and the count is 1-0. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of the 5th inning. Here's the pitch. Fouled over towards the on-deck circle, and the count is 1-1 to Kyle Jackson. Kyle Jackson, of course, a Georgetown College senior to be. Prior to that, attended Chaffey College, where he was an all-conference player. As you know, he's been an all-SCCBL player 2 of the last 3 summers, we should say at that. Breaking pitch misses in the dirt for ball 2. 2-1 the count. Among other things, has the distinction of leading the Inland Valley Baseball Association in pretty much every category you can think of. Runs, RBIs, hits, as this one's grounded to the left side, deep in the hole. Shortstop won't be able to handle it, and Jackson will make it safely for the 2nd time here. As Sheldon Borson will come to the plate. Well, this is kind of what happened in the 3rd inning, if you recall, as Kyle Jackson reached base with 2 outs, and then Sheldon Borson ripped one to right center and had the RBI triple and scored the game's only run. Borson to the plate. Juarez on deck. So the heart of the order is due up after this for the Buccaneers, who are trying to get any kind of 2-out rally they can. 1-0 the count to Sheldon Borson. Well, it's tough, kind of as you're saying it now, you look at the top of the lineup, and obviously other than the first time they came up, the other 2 plate appearances, both Jackson and Borson, there were 2 outs on them. Here's the pitch, the 1-0. Called a strike on the inside corner. And the count is 1-1. So Sheldon Borson, 1 for 2 in this game with the RBI triple that we had, of course, previously mentioned. The only run that's been scored by the Bucs was in the 3rd inning. Here's the pitch. Strike 2, 1-2 the count. Power getting a couple runs in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd and 3rd, and a couple in the 4th. And so that's how they've taken this 6-1 lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Borson now will have to stay alive and protect the plate. The 1-2, swing and a miss. Strike 3, down he goes. And the side is retired at the end of 5. It remains a 6-1 score. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com.
Concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name Mike. He doesn't need his name up in lights, he just wants to be heard, whether it's the beat of the mic. He feels so unlike everybody else, alone, in spite of the fact that some people still think that they know him, but no, he knows the code. It's not about the salary, it's all about reality and making some noise, making a story, making sure his click stays up. That means when he puts it down, Todd's picking it up.
Who the hell is he anyway? He never really talks much, never concerned with status, but still even him starstruck. Humble through opportunities given despite the fact that many misjudge him cause he makes a living from writing raps. Put it together himself, now the picture connects. Never asking for someone's help or to get some respect. He's only focused on what he wrote. His will is beyond reach, and now it all unfolds. The skill of an artist. This is 20% skill.
Welcome back as we head to the top of the sixth inning. 6-1 remains the score. The Bucs trailing the Power. First pitch misses low and away for ball one. Dylan Lowenstein in for catcher Justin Gomez. Fastball low and away for a ball. So the only, I guess you'd say the second substitution of the game. Brandon Benson came in left field a few innings ago. In the third inning, strike called at the plate to Dylan Yankel. Yankel's 0 for 2, but he is ahead here with a 2-ball, 1-strike count. And no outs in the top of the sixth inning. Lined right back at Maples, and Maples looks a little bit shaken up here as it may have hit off his pitching hand, his pitching wrist. And certainly you never want to see that for either side. Maples trying to walk it off. That was definitely a laser off the bat of Yankel. And so Kevin Buller is going to check out the wrist, as are the entire infield and even the hitter who hit him. And so Yankel kind of apologizing a little bit there to him. And that'll do it, unfortunately, for Maples. Maples heading back to the dugout as Tim Mulvaney will replace him when we return.
80% beer, be 100% clear, cause Ryu was ill. Who would've thought he'd be the one that set the West in flames? And I heard him wreck it with the crystal method, name of the game. Came back, dropped Megadeth, took him to church. I like Bleach, man. Ryu had the stupidest verse. Let's do this the truth. Now everybody giving them guest spots and stocks through the roof. I heard him with that.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name.
Call him Ryu, he's sick and he's spitting fire and Mike. Got him out the dryer, he's hot. Found him in Fort Minor with top, but a fucking nihilist porcupine. He's a the type women wanna be within rappers. Hope he gets 8 years in the making, patiently waiting to blow. Now the record with your notice taking over the globe. He's got a partner in crime, his is equally dope. You won't believe the kind of that comes out of this kid's throat. He's not your everyday on the block. He knows how to roll with what he's got, making his way to the top. He often gets a comment on his name. People keep asking him, was it given that birth that doesn't stand for an acronym? No, he's living proof. Let him rock in the booth. He'll get you buzzing quicker than a shot of vodka with juice. Him and his crew are known around as one of the best. Dedicated to what they do and give 100%.
Forget Mike, nobody really knows how or why he works so hard. It seems like he's never got time, because he writes every note and he writes every line. And I've seen him at work when that light goes on in his mind. It's like a design is written in his head every time before he even touches a key or speaks in a rhyme. And those other fellas he runs with, the kids that he signed, ridiculous without even trying. How do they do this? Is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will.
So in to relieve Cody Maples is Tim Mulvaney, after unfortunately Cody Maples was struck by a line drive in the throwing wrist. So obviously we hope that he's okay, as the first pitch misses low and away for ball one. 1-0 the count. Tim Mulvaney on the mound here, kind of in an emergency relief appearance, although I'm sure that he's one of the guys that probably Kevin Buller was going to go to anyways in relief, but maybe a little bit earlier than he would have liked to have gone to the pen here in the sixth inning. 1-0, strike. Of course, actually Vega, or we should say, well, Vega started the game, and so actually Cody Maples was in relief in the third inning for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Dylan Yankel, the catcher, takes his lead off first. Here's the pitch. Foul ball. Will it be playable? No, it won't, as it works its way out of play. So Andrew Brown at the plate, and then the Power go back to the top of the lineup. But it appears that we may be getting a pinch hitter here from the Palm Springs Power in that leadoff position. 2-2 the count. Kevin Buller questioning where the previous pitch was, and they say it was up. So that's his answer. Salcida is going to be the pinch hitter. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Salcida coming in here for Brock Hale. So the Power going to their dugout with Gilbert Salcido. Tim Mulvaney with 1 out. Throws a fastball high and away. Ball 1. 1-0 the count. Here's the pitch. Fastball high and away. Ball 2. 2-0 the count for Tim Mulvaney. Working against Gilbert Salcida. Colby Schultz on deck. Here's the pitch. High and away, ball 3. And the count is 3-0. Mulvaney comes set. Here's the 3-0. Strike 1 called, and the count is 3-1. So Mulvaney with the 3-1 count, working against Gilbert Salcida. At first base is Dylan Yankel, the catcher. Mulvaney comes set, the 3-1, foul back, and it's a full count pitch. Obviously, for the Buccaneers, you look at it and they did play well in the first game of this doubleheader, but still they had opportunities and they couldn't take advantage of them. And while this is ball 4, so Lowenstein wanted to throw it down at second, but then actually made the good decision and realized that, well, it was ball 4, so no reason to try to risk throwing it down to second and potentially risk an error when the guy's going to get to second base anyways. This is Colby Schultz. Schultz to the plate. Malden on deck. First pitch, strike. No. Not sure where that missed. And so that'll be ball 1. 1-0 the count for Tim Mulvaney. Mulvaney out of Indiana Wesleyan. 6'1", 190, right-handed pitcher. Hometown of Hemet, and went to Hemet High School. Fastball misses for ball 2. And the count is 2-0. Hitter's pitch to come. 2 balls, no strikes, 1 out. 2 runners on for the Power. Ahead by 5 runs. Strike at the plate call by the umpire, and it's 2-1. Well, for the Inland Valley Buccaneers, unfortunately, this game is starting to look like a couple of the games in Palm Springs, where pretty much the Power were scoring at least 1 run in every single inning. Strike 2, 2-2 the count. The other thing that we've obviously really noticed is, and we talked about at the moment, Logan Landon is the only pitcher on the entire kind of roster that has settled them down a little bit, as they've been able to hit every single other one that Kevin Buller's thrown out there. So it's not like you kind of can question necessarily who he's even putting in the game, just because, like we said, they've seen each and every pitcher in these 4 games. And the only one who's been able to keep it close was Logan Lannon in that first game of today's doubleheader. High and away, ball 3, full count. And obviously the first game, he went back and forth where you were ahead by a score of 5-3 and then 6-5, but then obviously the wheels fell off the wagon. And Bucs ended up losing by a lot in that game. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Second out of the inning. Good strikeout there from, well, any strikeout's a good one, but certainly good time there to get a strikeout and to get the second out of the top of the 6th inning. Because the last thing you want is for more runs to come home and score. If you're the Inland Valley Buccaneers, still trying somehow, some way to potentially manage this game down by 5 runs with still 4 at-bats left. Fly ball, shallow center field. Michael Mora, what happened there? Michael Mora didn't see the play, I guess. Run comes home with the score. It's 7-1. I think everybody's confused. Even the guy who just scored was just like staring back at center field as the play wasn't made. Man. When it rains, I guess it pours. And so that'll end up being no other way to score it but as an RBI single for the Palm Springs Power here. Man, what a tough. We were just talking about how you wanted to get out of the inning. And unfortunately, obviously, Bucs weren't able to do that. As it looks like we got another pinch hitter up there. That's Caleb Foster. So Caleb Foster batting in Willie Bourbon's spot in the lineup as he fouls this one back. Palm Springs Power going to the bench a little bit here, something that actually we really haven't seen them do in the first 3 games at all. I mean, even in the couple games in Palm Springs where they jumped out in front, maybe just making a few pinch hit at bats in the 9th inning. But like we said here today in the 6th inning, a couple changes in this inning. Meanwhile, Mulvaney comes set the 0-2. Upstairs, ball 1. 1-2 the count. Well, now that they've obviously dug themselves a bigger hole, I mean, obviously trailing by a score of 6-1, it's going to be tough to come back from to begin with. And now it's 7-1 as we got a pitch in the dirt and another runner into scoring position for Palm Springs. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the 6th inning. Power have scored in every single inning except for the 5th. Well, any time a team does that to you, you know it's going to be pretty hard to win that game. Here's a 2-2. Up and in, ball 3. And the count has now run to full for the Palm Springs Power. Going is Tim Mulvaney. As we mentioned, this is Caleb Foster in the DH spot. Pinch hitting. Here's the full count offering. Called strike 3 on the inside corner. And down he goes. Let the Power score one more. And the new score is 7-1. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com. welcome back Alex Gaskin, batting in Johnny Juarez's spot in the lineup. So Gaskin in for Juarez. McCann coming in next. Strike one. 0-1 the count. So Aaron McCann is going to hit in Nick Hernandez's spot in the lineup after this. Here's the 0-1. Check swing foul. And the count is 0-2. Also, we'll get Dylan Lowenstein for the first time in this inning. Lowenstein came in on defense to replace Gomez a couple innings ago. So 3 new batters here for the bottom of the 6th inning. The 0-2, low and away. Ball 1. And the count is 1-2 to Alex Gaskin. Alex Gaskin got the start in right field in the first game. Actually had an RBI single in his first at-bat. It was a big hit. But he will take called strike 3 there. And that'll be the first out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 1 up and 1 down. Up comes Aaron McCann. Aaron McCann, 6'3", 225 out of Chaffey College. He'll be a sophomore there next season. Hometown of Chino Hills, and went to Bishop Amat High School. Left-handed hitter who's been on fire as of late, really, for the Buccaneers. Takes ball 1, and the count is 1-0. Here's the 1-0. Ooh, called a strike. More or less in the same location, but this time it's called a strike, and it's a 1-1 to Aaron McCann. So McCann at bat, Lowenstein on deck, and Todd Yost getting up in the hole. Strike 2. 1-2 the count to Aaron McCann. The 1-2 offering, low and away, ball 2. McCann, for what it's worth, talk a lot about how he's picked it up with the bat as of late. Also has a good eye at the plate. He's walked a number of times this season. Here's the 2-2. This time, though, it's going to be a swing and a miss. Second strikeout in a row for the Buccaneers. And here comes Dylan Lowenstein. Lowenstein replacing Gomez. Gomez finishing 0 for 2 in the day. Or maybe you shouldn't say in the day when it's obviously a doubleheader, but 0 for 2 in this game as Lowenstein gets his first at-bat. And like we said, Yost will be batting in the number 6 spot in the lineup. This one's lined foul for strike 1. And the count is 0-1 to Dylan Lowenstein. Lowenstein, 6'1", 205. Right-handed hitter at a Bluefield College. Fouls this one over the first base dugout, and now it's 0-2. Hometown of Chino Hills, and went to Chino Hills High School. Did number 17, Dylan Lowenstein. So Lowenstein at the plate, and Yost on deck. Here's the 0-2 offering. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Down he goes. Side retired in order. All by strikeouts. And we'll head to the top of the 7th in a 7-1 game. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com.
Fire
Lots of changes in the top of the 7th inning for the Inland Valley Buccaneers as Tim Mulvaney remains on the mound. But a lot different defense behind Tim. First pitch, strike one. 0-1 the count. Now into the game is Garrick Vargas at third. At shortstop, Todd Yost. Foul ball behind the plate. Out of play. Nothing into the count here. Kyle Jackson shifted from third to second. Matt Maher stayed put. And as we mentioned, Dylan Lowenstein came in to catch. Jordan Hernandez is now in center. Here's the 0-2. Misses low, ball 1. 1-2 the count. So Jordan Hernandez is in center. Also, of course, you knew that Benson came in the left earlier in the game, and Alex Gaskin is in right field. Here's the 1-2. Line foul. And the count remains 1-2. Tim Mulvaney comes set. Here's the 1-2. Nice breaking pitch. Just must have missed outside for ball 2. And the count is 2-2. Taylor Grace, 1 for 3 in the game. Here's the 2-2. Fastball low and away, ball 3. And the count has now run to full for Taylor Grace. So Taylor Grace and Tim Mulvaney locked up in a payoff pitch to come. Late kicking the pitch. Low and away. Ball 4. Leadoff walk here to start things off. Helt for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Not sure if they know the result out in Pasadena, but the result is that the Buccaneers are not making the playoffs unless they win this game. And it's not looking like that's going to happen here today, as the score is 7-1 in the top of the 7th inning. Low and away. Ball 1. 1-0 the count. Ground ball right side. Jackson the second. Shortstop Yost over to first. They do get the lead runner at second. And the fielder's choice. So Fopp reaches on the fielder's choice as Ryan Mota steps up to the plate. Mota is 1 for 3. Singleton scored in the second inning. I guess you look back on it now and you think there are a few games, definitely. Fly ball, shallow left field. Starting back was Benson. And so Benson can't make the play. Drops for a bloop base hit. As we mentioned, after stepping back, couldn't get back towards it. And so now there's 2 runners on with a 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning. Yankel to the plate. Yankel is 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. Mulvaney comes set, working out of the stretch. Here's the pitch. Bounced up the middle. Hopefully this will be an inning 6-3 double play, and that's what it is. The inning has come to an end. Todd Yost, nice play there. It's time to stretch here at Scalino's Field for the second time. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some out at the old ball game. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Take me out to the ball.
Yo.
Welcome back as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Todd Yost to get his first at-bat here, hitting in the spot of Andrew Alvarez. Of course, we caught you up on him being at short in the previous inning as they made a bunch of changes for the Bucs. First pitch is a strike. The count is 0-1. On deck is Jordan Hernandez, so Hernandez will step up for the first time today following this at-bat. Here's the pitch, the 0-1, low and away, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, no outs, bottom of the 7th inning. Late kicking the pitch, grounded foul, down the third base line, and the count is 1-2. So you have Yost and Hernandez, as we mentioned, due up. Matt Maher stayed in the game at first. Benson, obviously, will be batting as well. He's already had 1 plate appearance in this game, as this is a breaking pitch in the dirt for ball 2. 2-2 the count. Garrett Vargas will be the last guy to get in at bat. He did enter at third in the previous inning, but he's batting the number 2 spot in the lineup. So it just so happened that Vargas pretty much entered right after Borson made the last out in the 5th inning. 2-2. And away, ball 3. Full count, payoff pitch to come. Well, like we said, sort of kind of a hard dose of reality. If the Buccaneers are not able to score 6 runs in these last 3 innings to tie the game up, because this will be it. Swing and a miss, strike 3, 5 consecutive strikeouts for Acosta. Struck out the side, of course, in the 6th inning. Got the last guy in the 5th and the first guy here in the 7th. Up comes Jordan Hernandez. Jordan Hernandez out of Chaffey College. He'll be a sophomore there next season. 5'11", 185-pound left-handed hitter. Matt Maher is on deck. Here's the pitch. Comebacker to the pitcher. Easy play there. That did stop the string, though, of 5 consecutive strikeouts. But I think Acosta will take that nonetheless and make the flip. He'll be happy to do that. And he may very well just go this whole game. I don't think they've really warmed anybody up down that bullpen. Here comes Matt Maher. Maher's 0 for 2, lined out to center, and flew out in foul territory to the first baseman. Late kick in the pitch. Misses inside, ball 1. 1-0 the count to Matt Maher. Maher at the plate. Benson on deck. Here's the 1-0. Fastball, strike 1, 1-1 the count. Actually, look at Kevin Wohler not at third base coach today, or not for anymore. Line drive, deep left field, but the left fielder looks like he's tracking and makes the grab right by the warning track. And the inning has come to an end. We're through 7, 7-1 the score. Bucs trailing. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com. Well, we head to the top of the 8th inning. 9-1 and 2 up in the lineup. Andrew Brown stepping up against Andre Henson. Henson first pitch, foul ball down the first base line. Henson will be here at Cal Poly Pomona next season. He will be a freshman. Actually sort of following in Nick Hernandez's footsteps in the sense that he went to Charter Oak before that. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 0-2 the count for Henson. So it looks like Henson may close out the final 2 innings for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Here's the 0-2 offering. Bounce to the right side at Jackson. Jackson charging after it and makes the flip to Maher for the first out here in the top of the 8th inning. 1 up and 1 down for Andre Henson. This is Gilbert Salcida. Salcida entered in Brock Hale's spot in the lineup in the 6th inning and drew a walk in the 6th inning. Henson, the lefty. One of just 2 lefties on the staff, he and Hopkins. Strike called at the plate, and is 0-1. No balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Top of the 8th inning. 7-1 the score. Here's the pitch. Strike 2. 0-2 the count. Henson, for what it's worth, since he first took the mound with the Bucs, he's looked like he had some good stuff. This is line to left field. Benson's there, and that'll be the second out of the inning. Here's Kobe Schultz. Schultz reaching a couple of times, once on an error, and scored the second run of the game. Also had an RBI single in the 4th inning for the Palm Springs Power. Power looking to lock up the number 1 seed in the SCCBL playoffs and really be able to host both the semifinals and championship round at Palm Springs Stadium. Here's the 1-0. This is low and away. Ball 2, 2-0 the count. Catches the inside corner, and the count is now 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Top of the 8th inning. The Inland Valley Buccaneers are down to possibly their 2 final at-bats of the season. As this one's fouled, and it's 2-2. Like we said, trailing by 6 runs. Certainly it's going to be an uphill battle to climb if the Bucs want to come back and win this game. 2-2. Fouled out of play behind the plate, and the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody who watched in today on InlandValleyBaseball.com. Long doubleheader as this one's fouled. Long, I guess, in many different ways, especially when you factor in the previous 2 days in addition to today's doubleheader, just in the sense that, well, didn't end up working out the way that we had hoped for the Buccaneers. Fly ball, foul, down the third base line. Vargas will make the grab, and the inning has ended. That'll do it for the top of the 8th. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th in a 7-1 ball game. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com. Welcome back as we head to the home half of the 8th inning. And like we said right before we signed off for the previous inning, we thank everybody who watched in here today. Obviously not exactly the results that we had hoped for. Benson squaring around and letting it go for ball one, and the count is 1-0. But obviously we did have a lot of people watching in today, so we thank you for that, as we've had over 300 people view the two games combined. Line drive, base hit up the middle for Brandon Benson. So Brandon Benson starting it off with a base hit here in the bottom of the 8th inning. In this game, game 4 of the doubleheader, we had people watching in from Texas as well as Arizona and, of course, California. Also in Iowa and Illinois, Louisiana, and Nevada. So thank you, everybody who joined in for the second game of this doubleheader. Like we said, not the way that the Bucs had envisioned at the moment, trailing by 6 runs, but who knows? Maybe the Bucs can make some magic happen. Obviously, they would have to make a lot of magic happen if they wanted to score 6 runs in the last 2 at-bats. Ground ball left side. The shortstop has one play, and that's to retire Jackson at first. And he does just that for the first out in the bottom of the 8th inning. This will be Garrick Vargas. Garrick Vargas, first at-bat of the game, actually entered for Sheldon Borson, or should say entered in Sheldon Borson's spot in the lineup. Borson, of course, started in second base. And then Kyle Jackson, who just made the previous out, ended up shifting from third to second to open up the spot for Vargas. So here is Vargas trying to take advantage of a runner in scoring position in the form of Benson and to cut into the 6-run deficit. Fastball, strike one. 0-1 the count. So you have Benson, as we mentioned, in scoring position. Vargas at the plate. And on deck would be Alex Gaskin. Here's the 0-1. Fastball misses up for ball one. Sticks on the board. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Bottom of the 8th inning. Palm Springs Power looking for a 4-game sweep of the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Here's the 1-1. Strike 2, 1-2 the count. Here's the 1-2. Cracked bat, grounded to the left side of the infield. Shortstop, but making another great play to retire Garrick Vargas, as Fopp has demonstrated that he is a very, very good defensive shortstop for sure. Here's Gaskin. Gaskin's 0 for 1. Struck out in the 6th. That's when he entered. And the spot in the lineup for Johnny Juarez. So Johnny Juarez actually started it in right field in this game. First pitch, breaking pitch, ball 1, 1-0 the count. And Juarez finished the day 1 for 2. Of course, we say that, but Gaskin has already had 1 plate appearance, like we mentioned, the 0 for 1. Here's the 1-0. Weak grounder right back to the pitcher, Acosta. Acosta the flip. And Acosta has now navigated his way through his 8th inning of work. And at the end of 8, it remains 7-1. You're watching on InlandValleyBaseball.com.
Little boy in a baseball hat stands in the field with his ball and bat. Says, I am the greatest player of them all. Puts his bat on his shoulder and he tosses up his ball. And the ball goes up and the ball comes down. Swings his bat all the way around. The world's so still you can hear the sound. The baseball falls to the ground. Now the little boy doesn't say a word, picks up his ball, he is undeterred. Says, I am the greatest there has ever been. And he grits his teeth and he tries it again. And the ball goes up and the ball comes down. Swings his bat all the way around. The world's so still you can hear the sound. The baseball falls to the ground. He makes no excuses, he shows no fear.
We'll head to the top of the ninth inning. Henson on the mound going against the heart of the order. John Malden leading it off. Caleb Foster is actually going to be batting next. He came in to replace Willie Bourbon earlier in the game. First pitch outside, ball one. 1-0 the count. Here's the 1-0. Inside ball two, and it's 2-0. Foul back, and it's 2-1 as that ball makes a loud thud on one of the cars, kind of adjacent to the parking lot here at Cal Poly Pomona. Well, the Palm Springs Power, they are about to make it 1-11 for the Bucs. Bucs have only won one game in franchise history, and like we said, unless they have the most epic three-out rally, the most epic bottom of the ninth you've ever seen, it's going to continue to be really one-way traffic when these two teams meet. Unfortunately, that's just kind of reporting the facts, as it's kind of tough to kind of deal with or kind of live with, as you know that it's the best team in your league, and all you had to do, and we say all you had to do, but you know it is a great team, but you had to beat them once out of 4 times to clinch a bid into the playoffs, and you couldn't get that job done. And so now, like we said, unless you get something crazy done in the bottom of the ninth inning, now the Buccaneers are just pretty much 3 outs away. 1 inning left of baseball this summer. Here's the 1-1. Misses low for ball 2, and the count is 2-1. Like we said, really, it was tough sort of for the hitters, just in the sense that, and maybe not necessarily this game. This game might be the one exception, as this one's lined foul. But, I mean, even in the previous game, when you only scored 2 runs, like we said, you left a lot of guys on base, 11 to be exact, and 8 in scoring position. So you had so many opportunities, so many chances to maybe not even just win that game, but even break it open at times. Speaking of broken, that's a broken bat. Jackson to Henson, and that'll be the first out here. And advancing the second was John Malden. This is Taylor Grace. Taylor Grace, 1-for-3, also drew a walk in this game. Late kick in the pitch. Backdoor breaking ball outside, ball 1. 1-0 the count. Line to center field. Jordan Hernandez makes the play. That'll be the second out here in the top of the ninth inning. Jared Vega started the first 2. Cody Maples came in from innings 3 through 5 and actually came in the 6th. but was lined by one in the right wrist, so had to leave the game. I see him sitting in the dugout right now, though, so hopefully he's okay. Hopefully it's just obviously sore after the line drive comebacker hit him. And so that's when Tim Mulvaney entered for that 6th inning and worked a couple innings there. And the 6th and 7th, and Henson entered in the 8th and is looking to finish out the 9th. Ahead in the count 0-2 here with a runner on second base and 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning. The 0-2 called was actually not 0-2. It's going to be called a strike at the plate, and so the count is now 1-2 to Kobe Fopp. Fastball high and away, ball 2, and the count is now 2-2. Two-two offering, lined over towards Jackson on the one hop. Jackson the first. Side retired. We'll head to the bottom of the 9th inning in a 7-1 game.
He just closes his eyes and listens to the cheers. Little boy, he adjusts his hat, picks up his ball, stares at his bat, says, I am the greatest, the game is on the line, and he gives his all one last time. And the ball goes up like the moon so bright, swings his bat with all his might, and the world's as still can be, and the baseball falls. And that's strike 3. Now it's supper time, and his mama calls. Little boy starts home with his bat and ball. Says, I am the greatest, that is a fact, but even I didn't know I could pitch like that. Says, I am the greatest, that is understood, but even I didn't know I could pitch that good.
Welcome back as we head to the home half of the 9th inning. Dave Sobera on the play-by-play. So glad you've joined us on InlandValleyBaseball.com for what appears to be the final inning of the season for the Buccaneers, unless they're able to plate 6 runs here against the guy who's gone the whole way in Acosta. First pitch, check swing, misses up for ball 1. Oh, 0-1 the count. They said yes, he did go. Man, that one was tough for Aaron McCann. Here's the 0-1. Inside ball 1. And the count is 1-1. Just in case somebody is getting loose in the pen, saying just in case Costa, I guess, falters a little bit here in the 9th inning. But obviously, as we mentioned, he's gone the whole way. And he is 3 outs away from a complete game, as he's now ahead 1-2 to the first baseman, Aaron McCann. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. He found that pitch, really, found that breaking pitch that McCann really couldn't figure out, and he went back with it a couple of times in a row. And up comes Dylan Lowenstein. Dylan Lowenstein is 0 for 1, entered in the 6th inning for Justin Gomez. So Lowenstein to the plate here, working against, of course, Matt Acosta, who has now gone 8 1/3 innings and is looking for 2 more outs for the complete game. Line foul down the first base line, and the count is 0-1. Sure, Acosta will have a pretty good night tonight after winning a conference game, in all likelihood, with a complete game. Here's the 0-1. On away, ball 1, 1-1 the count. Obviously, the Bucs still with 2 more outs to work with here in the bottom of the 9th inning. But they need to get going in a hurry if they want to try to tie this game up somehow, some way. And that might not help. This is a fly ball to shallow center field. Catch made for the second out. Bucs down to their final out here. Todd Yost to the plate, 0 for 1. Struck out in the 7th inning. So Todd Yost trying to start one of the more epic 2-out rallies in the bottom of the 9th you've ever seen. As the Bucs trailing by 6 runs, trying to, like we said, make the playoffs. Unfortunately for them, the Sentinels won 2 games. And the Bucs have lost 4 in a row. If they don't come through here, 1-0 the count. And those two things combining with each other ended up making a tie in the standings. And the Sentinels took the tiebreaker. Here's the 1-0. Down low, ball 2, 2-0 the count. Tiebreaker was, well, the two teams split during the season, but it ended up being run differential. And so all the games were 1 or 2 run games except for one that the Sentinels won by 5 runs. Line drive, base hit up the middle. Bucs aren't done yet as Todd Yost lines that one to center field. And here comes Jordan Hernandez, who's 0 for 1 with a ground out in the 7th inning. Hernandez working against Acosta. As we mentioned, Acosta, he's gone the whole way. 8 2/3. And is looking to get that one more out and to give Palm Springs Power sole possession of first place and the number 1 seed in the SCCBL playoffs. First pitch swinging, line drive, left center field. 2 base hits in a row here. It's actually misplayed in left field, so both runners will take an extra base. So Hernandez to second and Yost to third. Call that a single, and then the error allows both runners to advance to second and third. And up comes Matt Maher. Matt Maher, 0 for 3 in the game. Line out to center, fly out to first, and the line out to left field. Well, it's never easy to get the final out, but for the Power, obviously they have a lot of room to kind of wiggle with here in a 7-1 ball game. And it appears that they will just leave Acosta in for the rest of the game, who, as you know, is trying to get a complete game here. He's going 8 2/3. Matt Maher takes ball 1, and the count is 1-0 to Matt. So Matt Maher, the second-year Inland Valley Buccaneer, at the plate. On deck, Brandon Benson. Here's the 1-0. Foul ball down the third base line. That was a high fly ball, to say the least, as Maher kind of watched it in awe, as it was a majestic fly ball, but in foul territory. Kind of a hit that if you put it in fair territory, if you straighten it out, maybe it would have cleared the fence. But for the Bucs, they need 2 3-run home runs to tie this game up. Same thing, another towering fly ball down the third base line that Maher jumped on, in front of and skied down that third base line. But now the count is 1-2, and the Bucs are down to their final strike here. Maher to the plate. Of course, Hernandez at second, and at third base is Yost. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking pitch in the dirt, ball 2, and the count is 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of 9. Like we said, the Bucs looking for one of the more epic 2-out rallies I think you would ever see, as there were 2 outs, nobody on base. Couple hits in a row here. Matt Maher trying to keep it rolling and continue the momentum. Here's the 2-2. Low and away, ball 3, full count. Payoff pitch to come to Matt Maher. So Maher trying to take advantage of 2 runners in scoring position. As you know, in the previous game of the doubleheader, that was something that plagued the Bucs the whole way, leaving 8 men in scoring position. 3-2, grounded up the middle for a base hit. Rounding third, coming home to score is Yost. Also coming in to score is Hernandez. And it's now 7-3 after the RBI single, the 2 RBI single at that, by Matt Maher. Harry Gurley is actually going to come out to the mound. And Acosta, who went 8 2/3 innings, may be done. That's tough for him. Obviously trying to go the complete game, but just couldn't get that final out. So it looks like we may have another play stoppage here, and we may go to the bullpen. Let's see if that's what Harry Gurley wants to do in his final season with the Palm Springs Power. He's made the call to the pen, and that'll be it. So we'll step away for a few moments as the Inland Valley Buccaneers are trying to, as we mentioned, mount an incredible comeback with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
The game's on the line, my number gets a call. I bust out from the bullpen, they give me the ball. Runners crowd the corners, Mr. Clutch stands to bat. Pressure's a ton, only up by 1, but I can handle that. I stare down the batter as he digs in with the spikes. It don't matter what you do, you're going down on strikes. So I get my sign, check the runners, take my stretch. First pitch is a freight train, impossible to catch. 'Cause I am the closer, nasty wicked stuff. They count on me to shut the door when they go and get stuff. 'Cause I am the closer, the one who throws the heat. They count on me to shut the door, 'cause I am the closer. I am the closer. Strike 1 calls the umpire, for the hitter it's looking bleak. I own the plate, it's my time, sluggers in trouble deep. So I set, here's the 0-1, my target's at the knees. It's swing and a miss for strike 2, and I bring the cheddar cheese. So I kick high and deliver, this fastball so cooking. All that poor batter can do is strike out looking.
And welcome back. Still in the bottom of the 9th inning with 2 outs. The Bucs actually did get a 2-run single from Matt Maher to make it a 7-3 score, but the Bucs still have some work to do, as obviously with 1 out to work with, still need to score 4 runs to tie this game up. Brandon Benson to the plate, and then we go back to the top of the lineup. First pitch, foul tipped into the mitt for strike 1 from Alex Sturzak. So Alex Sturzak, the lefty, coming in to try to slam the door shut for the Power after Acosta went 8 2/3 innings and looked very, very good, to say the very least. Here's the 0-1, swing and a miss, strike 2, and the count is now 0-2 to Sturzak, or for Sturzak, against Brandon Benson. So Sturzak was definitely ready to come in from the pen, as he comes in and throws a couple strikes in a row, and also has his opinion on what he wants to do, nodding his head no to the catcher about his call. Pitch misses high and away. Ball 1, and the count is 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th inning. 7-3 the score. Bucs actually got a 2-run single in this inning by Matt Maher. Actually have gotten 3 consecutive base hits as well. But that's it. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The inning is ended. The game is ended. And unfortunately for the Buccaneers, the season has ended, as they will not make the playoffs in 2016. After making it in 2015 and losing in the semifinal round, they get swept in 4 games against the Palm Springs Power. They needed to win 1, and they are not able to do that, as, like we said, the season is over. It's kind of tough to put it into words for the Buccaneers at the moment, because we had hope and we had faith that somehow, some way, the Bucs would just be able to score that one game, score that one win, but they weren't able to do so. And obviously, Nothing is given to you in this conference, and the Bucs finish 5-11 in conference play. So, very tough finish to the season. Like we had mentioned, the Bucs kind of found some of that magic from the beginning of the season again, and went on a 6-game winning streak before playing the Power, and then here they are in this, final series, and unfortunately, weren't able to get the better of the Power, and that'll do it. That's a wrap for Buccaneer baseball for 2016. Obviously, it's not a wrap for Inland Valley baseball as the Pirates season is continuing. Pirates will play tomorrow, actually, against the Saints in Pasadena at 6 o'clock, and then the Pirates will be here at 1 o'clock on Saturday for one game, and 1 o'clock again on Sunday for a doubleheader. So that's what the rest of the week looks like for Inland Valley baseball at Scalinos Field on the campus of Cal Poly Pomona. We thank you, everybody who watched the Buccaneers this season. It's kind of tough, as we said, or sad that it has to come to an end, but that's it. That's all they play here in the summer, as they're not going to make the playoffs. They would have had an extra week next week, but like we said, didn't make it, so not going to be playing next week. So that'll do it. That is a wrap here for Buccaneer baseball in 2016. Obviously, got off to a great start earlier in the season, and then they hit kind of that middle ground and a tough stretch. Then they started winning again, but couldn't put it together against the Power. And, to be honest, if you're not able to win 1 out of 4, how do you think you're going to be able to potentially try to win a best-of-3 series against these guys? That would be pretty hard to do. And so the Bucs can't do it. They can't get that one win, as we mentioned. And, what would have ended up happening was they would have ended up playing this team even if they got the win. But, you could have taken a little bit of positive things from the first game. Obviously, it's irrelevant now. But you could have thought that maybe Lannon could have done it, and Trask has done it in the past. So you could have possibly had 2 horses there, but it's not going to matter because the Bucs have lost that tiebreaker like we were talking about to the Sentinels, regardless of what happens tomorrow between the Sentinels and Bombers. They actually have another game to be played tomorrow. And like we said, that's a wrap. Dave Silberai saying thank you, and we'll see you next year for Buccaneer baseball, but we'll see you tomorrow for Pirate baseball.